Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Poonam Mehta. In today's video, I will be reviewing ThriveCart. ThriveCart is a checkout software and it's also a learning management system. So what that means is if you're someone who has products and services that you sell to others online, then ThriveCart is one of those tools that you may want to consider because it is something that can help you out a lot and that can also save you a lot of money. With that, let's get started. Also, before I get into this review, if you do end up considering ThriveCart for your business, then I have a link to that in the description box down below. It is a discounted link. It should give you a discount on ThriveCart when you purchase it. With that, let's get started. So I started using ThriveCart, I'd like to say around 2 to 3 years back when I started creating a lot of online courses. Prior to that, I was using something that was known as Teachable. You may have heard of Teachable. So I was using Teachable, and while I liked Teachable, I struggled with it because it was more money. So back then, if I remember correctly, Teachable was about $40 for me to only host a certain number of courses. I could only do, I think it may have been like 2 or 3 courses, I can't remember, and that may have changed, but it was a limited number of courses. And even with that, I had to give them a percent of my earnings. So the problem with that was, while it was good and it worked, I felt the pressure that I needed to bring in sales right away, because if not, then I was really paying out of my pocket and I was making a loss just for putting my courses somewhere. So I did not really like that idea. I did not like this whole monthly membership of $40 that I had to pay. Along with that, I did not have a checkout tool either. A checkout tool is what someone would use. So say if you want to buy my course and you click on buy now, so that buy now is going to take you to a payment page that's known as a checkout page. There's a way you can create these checkout pages in your websites, but they're not the best options. I would not recommend those options because they don't convert well. The way these checkout tools are created is they build the page so that it becomes so easy for the customer to make that decision. And the more steps you eliminate between the customer and the purchase, the more sales you're going to make. So it makes a huge difference when someone converts well versus when something does not convert well. And I saw that difference right away as I started using ThriveCart. I even started using ThriveCart for my freebies. And I noticed that my freebie would end up converting more than it did when I just had it on my website as a standalone thing. So for that reason, checkout tools are great. They're phenomenal. But ThriveCart excelled because of the fact that along with that checkout tool, there's also a learning management system that's associated with it, which is that when someone comes to that payment page and someone says buy now, right? They put in their payment information, it will link them to this whole learning management system that has all my courses there, and they can click on their course and they can access all the course material right there. So there's less steps. It makes for a great customer journey because all they have to do is they have to check out and it takes them to that membership page. The most amazing thing about ThriveCart is that it lets me put in as many courses that I want. I can put whatever unlimited number of things in there. And I love that about ThriveCart because I'm a very creative person. I love just creating on the fly. If I get an idea, I want to create a product, I want to create a course, I want to create audios for my audience. And ThriveCart let me have that freedom without me having to pay extra money. Because with ThriveCart, you just have this one-time fee that you pay. So the one-time fee that you pay is for the checkout tool itself, but then you can upgrade it. It's not that much. I think I may have paid around $150 or $200 more, but you can upgrade it to the pro version and then you can get that learning management system, which I highly recommend. If you're getting a ThriveCart for an online course, because you're selling an online course, online service, get that learning management system. It is so good because you don't have to be bogged down by these monthly fees, and it just, the whole thing, the way it's designed, it is so easy for you to connect it to your email service provider in order for your audience to be able to buy it, to be able to get the welcome email, do sequences. You can do all of that so easily just using ThriveCart and your email service provider. Now, one of the things that I do want to mention is that when I first started online business, I started with Amazon FBA, which was a physical product business. And I remember being someone who was a new online business person. I was listening to a podcast to get all my knowledge about how exactly would I get this business started. What I really struggled with that was that they would, every episode that I consumed, someone would tell me, oh, you have to buy this software. This is great for doing this in Amazon. This is great for doing this in Amazon. And for me, I thought, oh my God, yeah, I need this because if I do this, then I'm going to get more sales. And I ended up buying so much where my monthly membership fees became so high that any profit that I made from my business, it would end up going in these monthly tool costs. And here is the most important lesson I learned with my Amazon FBA business. It's that in order for you to be profitable, especially in the first 1 or 2 years, you want to be as lean as possible. Keep your overhead costs as low as you can. You can add the bells and whistles later, but for now, you have to look at your profitability, because whatever you make in your profit, you're going to likely reinvest a huge part of it in advertising in your business and so on and so forth. So then when I was looking for a place like a learning management system in order to host my courses, I first started using Teachable, as I said. Then I moved on to LearnDash, which is like a WordPress plugin. But that was a lot of money. I was paying like 200-ish every year. So again, that was a lot of money. It was good, but a lot of money. And it was not very easy to set up. And then finally, when I found ThriveCart, I was so happy because it was just a one-time fee and I'm done. I can use it anytime I want. Like, I don't feel the pressure that, oh, I need to make these many number of sales in order to cover this cost. Because remember, as your audience increases, as the number of things you host increases, these paid platforms, the subscription platforms, they charge you more and more. And you want to keep that overhead low. So that's why for me, ThriveCart has worked amazingly well for me. And this is not from me using it for 1 or 2 months. This is me using it for years, and I have absolutely loved it. Now, sometimes people will ask me, like, how about I use something like Kajabi or something like a Podia or something where they have this monthly cost and everything is connected. You could do that. I'm not saying you cannot, right? Of course, like tech-wise, it's less overwhelmed, but it is more money. So if you're in that point in your business where you just want everything streamlined, you want everything automated, you could do that. Or you could do something like ThriveCart and just hire someone on Fiverr or Upwork to just set it up for you. That would be, in my eyes, that's a much easier option, because that's just a one-time setup. They can teach you the little things you have to do, and that's it. So for me personally, I highly recommend ThriveCart rather than these monthly subscriptions, unless you're at that point in your business where you want to gamify the user experience and you're at that space where you have a lot of sales and you want something that is really top notch, right? The ThriveCart is great, but I would not consider it like a premium thing, because you won't be able to do a lot of customizations with it. You won't be able to gamify it like you can other platforms. So yeah, if you're in that point in your business, then don't do ThriveCart. You could, but if you want to get all fancy with it, then ThriveCart is not going to be right for you. The other thing that I do want to mention is that there's another checkout software, an opt-in software known as Lead Pages. I absolutely loved Lead Pages when I first got started. In fact, if you're someone who's at that point in your business where you are super profitable and you want to invest in like the best stuff out there, I highly recommend Lead Pages for opt-ins, especially for your freebies. Because with Lead Pages, the conversion is really good. And on top of that, the SEO is amazing. So I remember hosting my freebies like twice on Lead Pages, and every time it ranked on Google. So people wouldn't even know me, and they would find my freebie on Google when they were searching for the topic. So in that sense, I love Lead Pages. I think their SEO is really superior as compared to ThriveCart. Having said that, it is for someone who's at that point where you have the luxury to choose between all these different options and you have the capital for it, then go for it, go do it. Otherwise, I would stick to ThriveCart, because that works too. Lead Pages SEO is just better. That's just how it is, and it does convert a little bit better than ThriveCart, in my opinion. The downside with Lead Pages is that, first of all, it doesn't have an LMS, right? It doesn't have a learning management system, so it is just a checkout thing. And on top of that, if you start putting paid stuff in it, then you're going to have to get the higher plan, which is really expensive. Lead Pages is not cheap, it's pretty expensive. So once you start adding all those payment gateways, it's not going to be a cheap thing. So again, someone who's looking for high-end tools, Lead Pages is something that you could look into. But if you're someone who's starting out, who doesn't want to invest that much, or who has their massive following, or if you're someone who's established but you have your following outside, like you don't rely on Google to get leads and so on, then ThriveCart would be a good option for you. The second thing I want to talk about with ThriveCart, which I cannot believe I have not mentioned up until now, is that you can also use ThriveCart to create funnels, which is phenomenal. Because if you don't know what funnel is, in a funnel, when I was doing human design solely, I had this freebie that was known as Soul Gifts by Human Design, which was to find your purpose in human design. It was this free cheat sheet that I would give to people. So people would come to ThriveCart, they would put in their information, And then when they would check out, instead of going to thank you page, I would put something that was known as tripwire. So this tripwire page, it takes them to like a low ticket offer, which was a $9 career by design masterclass, which was very connected to that soul gifts by design cheat sheet. So if someone was looking to find their purpose, they could easily buy that thing for $9, which was not available anywhere else for $9. And then what it would do is, if they would purchase that, then it would take them to my mid-ticket course, which was around $450 to find their purpose using human design. I had set it up that way. That's known as a funnel, because you're really funneling your customer through. Once they buy something, once you have a customer come in and put their information, getting them to buy other things from you is a lot more easy than just giving it to somebody who's not in that purchasing mindset just yet. So that is something that funnel helps out with a lot. ClickFunnels is one of the original funnel softwares that's out there. I use ClickFunnels. I like ClickFunnels, but I think ClickFunnels, it is nice, but it's still, I don't know, it's just like very masculine, and the templates and all of that are not that great, I think. With ThriveCard, you can create very beautiful templates, and you can actually go on Etsy and you can even purchase some of the ready-made templates, and it just makes the whole thing a lot more easier. With ClickFunnels, there's definitely a lot of things you can do with funneling though. You can do upsells, downsells, like all these crazy things, right? But if you're looking for someone basic, if you just want like a tripwire page, 1 or 2 funnels, I think a ThriveCard lets you do about 5 funnels, which I've never done. I think that would just piss off my audience. So I've never done that. But you could create those funnels with ThriveCards. And usually all funnel softwares, they do have a monthly membership fee. ClickFunnels is $100, and there's a limit on the number of funnels you can create. You can just do, I think, 3 funnels for that early price. You have System.io, which is a cheaper version of ClickFunnels, which if you want a serious funnel software, that is something that you could look into. But again, that is still $30, and there's a limit on the number of funnels that you can create. If you want more, then you have to pay more. So in that sense, like, you get a lot with ThriveCard for just this one-time fee, which is why I highly recommend it for new business owners who want to try all these different things, who have all these ideas, and who have a lot of creativity, who create a lot of stuff, but then you don't want to pay the money for it because you don't have the capital for it just now. And eventually, if you want, like, ThriveCard is great. I think even if you're a successful business owner, I know an 8-figure business owner who uses ThriveCard in her offers. You can use it, right? But say if you do want to get sophisticated at that point, you could always migrate to something else at that time. But I think ThriveCard is great for small and mid-sized businesses, and I highly recommend it. If you're someone who is multi-passionate, who has all these ideas, who wants to create courses, who wants a checkout tool, funnel, learning management system all in one, I think it is phenomenal for that. With that, I'm going to end this review, and I do have that discounted link in the description box down below. Along with that, I also have the blog where I review ThriveCard. Here I'm just like, it's like a stream of consciousness, right? I'm just like speaking. I may have missed talking about a few things that you may be able to find on my blog, so be sure to check that out. And with that, I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.